want to bring in former Arkansas governor and Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee. Governor, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. So
Thank
Trump
you, Maria.
vowed to have a special prosecutor investigate Hillary Clinton if he is elected. What's your take on the debate, and what about that comment?
Well, you know, if I'd been advising Donald Trump, I'd have probably told him several things to do differently. And once again, Donald Trump defies gravity. He defies all of the conventional wisdom. And I think he came out a winner last night. He did everything he needed to do to convince Americans that he is ready to fearlessly go where angels fear to tread and just go ahead and speak his mind and be bold about it. And I think it worked. The one thing that was incredibly disappointing was the fact that we've got to get to the place where moderators of debates somehow realize they're not participants. And last night I was so frustrated watching, because when people who are supposed to be wearing the striped jerseys and just be referees, when they put on a team jersey and start trying to challenge the candidate, look, the candidate may not give the answer they want, but it's not their business to debate them.
Right.
And that's what was going on last night.
There was so much of that, you guys, that I almost felt like, where is Anderson Cooper? I mean, at one point, I stood back and thought, why isn't Anderson Cooper saying anything? What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think also Martha Raddatz as well.
Well, that's okay. She was so much.
Right. But he ceded control to her.
Yes.
And it was like, when
he did.
And it also seemed like, you know, this is not the Martha Raddatz show. It's what I wanted. That was the way it felt. I thought it was just over the top. And these journalists are worried about their own reputations, is what it comes down to. They're worried about they're going to get criticized when they get back to work the following morning if she didn't go after Donald Trump.
Yeah, go ahead, Governor.
Yeah, but Dagan, the sad part is they get criticized a lot more because they forget that this is not their personal show and they're interviewing candidates. This is not an interview. This is a debate. It's about the candidates.
Yeah.
It's not about the moderators. They're not interviewers. They're simply trying to keep it between the ditches and keep it on time.
Yeah,
Beyond that,
I think what Dagan said is right. It's not the Martha Raddatz show. I mean, that's a good way to put it.
That's exactly right.
Go ahead.
And she took away from Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton should have gone on the offensive and said what Martha Raddatz was saying and used that as her points.
Yeah.
Let's not let Anderson Cooper totally off the hook. He essentially accused Donald Trump of sexual assault twice in his follow-up questions.
He did accuse him.
Governor, going to that point, look, we all have known there's a bias in the media that leans left. But this election year, from NBC to the Washington Post to the New York Times, it looks as if they've thrown the line of journalistic ethics and integrity out the window. This is a complete assault to take down Donald Trump at all costs. Is this something that you've noticed as well, or is this just the typical liberal bias? But it almost seems obscene.
This is not normal. It is way over the top. It's way beyond the line. I don't recognize the practice of journalism almost anywhere anymore. And look, think about the level of gravity that was given to the 11-year-old disgusting, lewd comments of Donald Trump. Nobody's defending him, including Donald Trump, versus the fact that we had this incredible revealing dump about Hillary Clinton's speeches that proves that she is nothing but a shill for Wall Street. She's a wholly owned subsidiary of the biggest corporations and banks in the world, and that behind closed doors she basically says, come to my house, I promise, on trick or treat, you're going to get your candy.
Yeah.
And that just was abominable that the press just let that go all weekend long.
Look, we've got to talk about the Republicans' conference call right now, Governor. They're having the House Republicans are having a conference call this morning, 11 a.m., to talk about next steps after Donald Trump's lewd comments that were caught on tape. What role will Trump's debate performance have on the GOP's next steps? What are you expecting out of the GOP House leadership?
I expect very little out of them. I'm so disgusted with them. But let me tell you what they need to do. They need to man up. They need to quit being nervous Nellies. They need to get behind the nominee that the people have put in place as our nominee, and they need to win this election and quit wringing their hands. Look, most of these people who are whining about, oh, I can't support Donald Trump, they never wanted to anyway. Yeah. They never wanted to. When they say, I'm getting out, they were never in.
You know,
and I'm tired of them whining.
We heard from Governor Schwarzenegger. Really?
Yeah, I mean, well, look.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
We have a nominee.
Really?
Yeah, given his history.
I just think we have to recognize that this is a choice between Hillary Clinton and where she would take this country economically, militarily, terms of national security, judicially, and it's a frightening place if you're a conservative and you even imagine it.
But does it have an impact on voter turnout? Will it have an impact on voter turnout?
No, I don't think so.
Look, we just showed a whole list of people that are leaving him.
Well, you know what? I think a whole lot of people are going to leave those people. Because when it comes time for a lot of folks to say, do I want to elect a congressman who runs and hides? And let me ask you something. Do you think if we had the private conversations of some of those congressmen, do you think we would not have some amazingly startling, disgusting things? Let me tell you, I can guarantee you that we would, because I've heard out of the mouths of some of these elected officials the kind of potty talk that Donald Trump is being gigged for.
Governor, I will give you this. That this tape, it was no great revelation that Donald Trump is a kind of a foul-mouthed bore and doesn't talk that well about women. We've known that. I mean, I said it the day that he declared his candidacy last year. I said, go and look at his Twitter feed. So to your point, is these people signed on to this knowing how he talks about women or has talked about women in the past. But beyond that, something in the Wall Street Journal editorial page today I wanted to bring up. It was Republicans who made it about character. Character counts when it was in reference to Bill Clinton. So, again, if character counts, what do you say to that?
Well, I still think it counts. I still think it matters. I think Donald Trump's apology was necessary. I think it was important, and I have to trust that it was sincere.
Yeah.
I think the statement of his wife was important.
We just spoke to a panel of millennials. They didn't like the apology. I thought it was very straightforward. I mean, he had to own it.
I didn't expect him to give a Jimmy Swaggart, you know, I have sinned and start crying. I don't think we're ever going to see that out of Donald Trump, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
Look, to Dagan's point, this is not a Sunday school teacher. I wish he were, but he's not.
Right.
But at the same time, this is not about where he's going to sit on Sunday. This is about how he's going to make decisions as President of the United States.
Yeah.
And if people had wanted someone who was more biblically versed, heck, I was available.
Yes, you were.
But they didn't pick me.
And what he did most effectively was say, I've said dumb things, she's done bad things, and extended it to Bill Clinton.
Nice.
And the Clintons live in a glass house the size of Buckingham Palace on these types of issues, so they should be very careful where they tread.
All right, we'll take a short break. Governor, good to see you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Governor Mike Huckabee there. Still